Chosen one, you didn't land here by accident. This moment was marked for you. Out of every place you could be, you're here, reading this, because something powerful is aligning in your life. This is not just another message. This is a divine interruption, a spiritual wake-up call, a signal from the heavens that your story is about to shift. And guess what? You're ready. You've weathered storms in silence. You've clung to hope when things didn't make sense. And even when no one clapped, you kept showing up. That's not weakness. That's divine strength. You're not average. You're not random. You are chosen, set apart, built for something bigger than you've even dared to imagine. The world has tried to convince you to settle, but deep down, you've always known. There's more. More love. More purpose. More peace. And now, the wait is turning into a move. Heaven is answering. So breathe this in. You are not being overlooked. You are being positioned. Everything you've been through was preparation for what's about to break loose in your life. This is your season to rise, to receive, and to walk boldly into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Let's unlock what's next, because it's not just coming for you. It's coming through you. Let's go. Looking for purpose and peace? Hit subscribe and start the journey. The path you've chosen isn't by chance. It's a signpost of divine orchestration at work. As the whisper of destiny brushes against your awareness, there's an unshakable pull in your spirit, a resonance that tells you this message has found you at the perfect moment. If you felt that subtle stirring within, consider this your confirmation, a symbolic key that opens realms both seen and unseen. There are no coincidences here, only moments charged with purpose. What follows is not casual or coincidental. It's a message tailored for those attuned to inner truth. When received with a ready heart, an invisible current begins to shift. What once seemed unclear starts to crystallize. Answers echo louder. The internal compass recalibrates. This insight is layered, meant to reveal more as your readiness deepens. Let it return to you like a melody you never tire of, unveiling new meanings with each revisit. Allow faith to act as the soil in which this message is rooted. Through your openness and belief, what was once hidden emerges with brilliance. A sacred connection is forming, one woven with promise and intention. Something long awaited is being crafted in parallel to your own becoming. Maintain your awareness. Continue to align with what is real, and remain available for the arrival of all you were born to receive. The road behind wasn't empty, it was intentional. There were stretches where celebration seemed distant, while others moved forward in plain sight. You weren't overlooked. You were undergoing a quiet transformation. As others marked milestones, you wrestled with unseen weight, shedding illusions and confronting truths no one else could see. While the world moved on, you were being tuned to a different frequency. You weren't excluded. You were being elevated by unseen hands for a purpose deeper than applause could affirm. Feel God's love stirring within you? Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. The stillness wasn't punishment, it was recalibration. That detour away from people and noise wasn't to diminish you, but to cleanse your spirit from what blurred your reflection. Habits, expectations, and old narratives were slowly stripped away, so your true foundation could surface. In the silence, false echoes faded. What remained was raw, real, and rooted. It was there that your perspective shifted, about yourself, about others, and about the force that had been guiding you all along. In that space apart, your instinct sharpened. You picked up subtleties others dismissed. You began to feel the weight of energy, the presence of something greater guiding your next steps. Not the temporary comfort that crumbles under pressure, but the durable calm that stands even when circumstances don't. Your perception matured, not through external validation, but through internal clarity. You broke ties with illusions. You stopped giving time to paths that never aligned with your essence. No longer fooled by shallow acceptance, you began seeking substance over spectacle. And as that shift took root, you no longer feared standing alone, because you had found alignment within. That stretch of solitude became your apprenticeship in discernment. You learned to recognize false offers cloaked in sparkle. What once seemed like opportunity, you now understood as distraction. You became fluent in spiritual red flags, the unspoken signs, the subtle tensions, the gut feelings you once ignored. This version of you carries discernment in every breath. The separation wasn't loss, it was sacred redesign. You now know the texture of real connection. You understand joy beyond conditions. You've stopped measuring your worth by others' perceptions and instead moved in rhythm with a deeper assignment. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. And now, you carry more than healing. You carry insight. You don't just move forward, you anchor. You're not merely hopeful, you're grounded. The reflection staring back at you is someone your past self dreamed of becoming. And what's being drawn to you now mirrors that same growth. This isn't exile, it's emergence. And the unveiling has already begun. Many have arrived adorned in confidence, but lacked the soul to carry it. They spoke with grandeur, but echoed no depth. Flashes of promise masked shallow intent, and though it stung at times, those encounters sculpted sharper insight. They weren't mistakes, they were mirrors, lessons sent to polish perception. With every hollow exchange, your discernment was strengthened, preparing you not just to hope, but to recognize what's sacred when it comes. Now, the one drawing near doesn't simply possess assets. They carry depth shaped by both ascent and affliction. They didn't inherit ease. They cultivated resilience. The glow they carry comes not from luxury, but from lessons. Their prosperity isn't their loudest trait. It's their clarity, their groundedness, their unwavering devotion to truth. Wealth, for them, isn't a banner. It's a byproduct of rooted living. Their progress wasn't paraded. It was forged in silence. Their strength didn't come from applause, but from choosing integrity in the absence of witnesses. Where others brought confusion, they offer calm. Where ego once entered, now arrives someone with empathy, whose energy doesn't drain, but heals. They're not here for admiration. They're here for alignment. They don't mimic your path. They honor it. They've resisted the lures that delay destiny. Their solitude wasn't emptiness. It was preparation. And now that their inner world reflects their outer stride, connection with you becomes unmistakable. Their voice isn't filled with noise, but with knowing. Their love doesn't hover at roots. It gives from fullness, not demand. Their loyalty is not performative, it's proven. They meet you whole, not hoping to be completed. There's no need to justify your boundaries or the way you preserve your atmosphere. They respect it because they've built the same for themselves. They've fought storms you'll never have to carry. And in you, they recognize a kindred survivor. Their abundance is not a finish line, it's a launch pad. It exists to sustain vision, protect purpose, and fuel creation that transcends self. They handle what they've been given with intention, not to dominate, but to co-create. They aren't arriving to rescue. You were never in need of one. They are arriving to unite, not just heart to heart, but mission to mission. They are fluid in purpose and fluid in you. This isn't a fleeting romance. It's a convergence of timing, growth, and divine rhythm. Not just a partner, but a witness, a mirror force. With them, it isn't just about love, it's about expansion. And where the two of you move, meaning follows. You are not stepping into a chapter. You are opening a legacy. And it begins exactly where you are. There are turning points in life where continuation feels like resistance, where the walls that once nurtured growth begin to echo with restlessness. The space that used to feel like home now hums with restriction. What once sustained the soul begins to dull its edge. And so, a gentle unease begins to whisper, nudging from within, not out of discontent, but from an evolving purpose that outgrows its shell. The shift rarely arrives in thunder. It begins quietly, in unexplainable longings, in subtle friction with the familiar, in dreams that stretch past the borders of the current. It is not about escape, it's about evolution. You are being summoned, not just to a different landscape, but to a higher rhythm that aligns with your becoming. This is not relocation for the sake of change. It is a holy recalibration. The terrain you once called your own has already witnessed your transformation, but it cannot host what comes next. This movement isn't just external. It's a rewiring of atmosphere, a clearing of the inner air, a release from anchors disguised as comfort. A fresh territory awaits, one that invites the fullness of your spirit to breathe deeper, speak louder, and create freer. The arrival of new connection may be the catalyst, not as a rescuer, but as a mirror of divine design, someone who carries not just provision, but vision. They don't simply offer help. They are part of the map. But the vessel doesn't matter as much as the voice that sent it. Whether through people, paths, or pivots, the invitation remains. Step forward. And yes, it will be unfamiliar. Parts of you will ache for what felt safe, even when it no longer served you. That ache is not a warning, it is a shedding. Look throughout time, and you'll find the pattern. Breakthrough always follows bold movement. Expansion requires dislodging. Alignment often demands departure. This transition is not merely a backdrop shift, it is a timeline shift. A move into spaces crafted for who you are becoming, not who you've been. Where your essence is no longer muted, but magnified. These rooms weren't random, they've been waiting, encoded with assignments and encounters that awaken dormant layers. This is not instability. This is strategic redirection. Where you were cannot house who you are evolving into. You're not losing ground. You're being guided towards soil that matches your roots. And in this new soil, the unseen will sprout. Your reach will stretch. Your foundation will deepen. Get ready to move differently, to see through clearer lenses, to build with fresh breath in your lungs. The unknown ahead is not unfamiliar to your spirit. It's been echoing through you all along, waiting for you to say yes. Feel God's love stirring within you? Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. Everything is shifting because this chapter is not about affection alone. It's about alignment that echoes beyond the present. What's forming now has been meticulously timed and spiritually engineered. This connection wasn't birthed out of convenience or desire, but through seasons of solitude, inner refinement, and divine preparation. Two lives, once walking parallel in separate landscapes, are now being drawn to a convergence point where calling meets calling. The one stepping into your life doesn't just see you. They understand the weight of your work, the cost of your conviction. This isn't just partnership, it's convergence. A fusion of prepared hearts who've both been reshaped by storms, stretched by silence, and deepened through surrender. Their presence doesn't just offer support, it activates something long dormant in you. This is collaboration with eternal fingerprints. Their path hasn't been paved in ease. They've carried invisible burdens, been dismissed in rooms they were too expansive for, and held on through nights of unanswered questions. But they've emerged not jaded, but refined. Their spirit holds strategy. Their journey carries insight. Their love is not decorative, it is divine reinforcement. What they offer is not just affection, but alignment with your higher rhythm. Together, you don't dilute one another. You amplify. There's no shrinking to maintain peace. No compromise on purpose for the sake of comfort. They celebrate your momentum, not because it flatters them, but because they recognize the holy weight it carries. Side by side, you build what doesn't just serve you. It serves generations. You create sanctuaries of wholeness, vessels for healing, spaces where vision breathes and legacy roots. You speak truth into each other's spirit before the world hears it. You bless one another's efforts before they bear fruit. You remind each other that what you're crafting is more than ambition, it's an assignment. Every launch, every plan, every seed sown is covered in conviction. Your bond does not wrestle for recognition, it flows in rhythm. They don't seek to overshadow your light. They reflect it, expand it. They don't fear your fire because they've lived through their own. They've seen the cost of purpose and still chose it. They've dreamed big dreams and asked for someone who could withstand the magnitude of that vision. And now, they stand ready to build with you. Their love is a mantle, not a mirror. It wraps around your purpose and says, "Let's do this together." Your union won't just be felt by those who know you. It will ripple through time. This is a meeting of missions, a sacred pact sealed in unseen realms. When people encounter what you've built together, They won't just feel warmth. They'll feel wonder. Because what they witness won't just be chemistry. It will be calling in motion. This is the unfolding of a divine alliance. Not just love. Legacy. Not just connection. Commissioned. And all of it, perfectly timed. There's a certain calm that arrives when alignment finally takes shape. Not the kind dressed in fireworks and frenzy, but the quiet assurance that whispers, "This fits." No tension. No inner tug-of-war. When something is divinely designed, it doesn't leave you drained or doubting. It settles you. No over-explaining. No reshaping yourself to be tolerated. No fighting to be visible. It just clicks, because its rhythm is tuned to your essence. What's approaching doesn't wear the mask of perfection. It breathes authenticity. There's no turbulence disguised as chemistry. No confusion mistaken for intensity. Instead, there's clarity that doesn't need to shout. A soul that sees you without needing an introduction. Someone whose spirit already recognizes yours. Not from effort, but from resonance. You're not chasing approval. You're witnessing reflection. They don't arrive trying to mold you. They arrive ready to hold space for who you've become. This is not surface-level agreement. It's soul-level connection. It isn't based on shared routines, but shared revelation. You feel free in their presence. Not because they fill your silence, but because they don't fear it. They ask what matters. They listen like it's sacred. They lean in, not to fix, but to understand. You create together, not just moments, but meaning. The laughter runs deep. The growth flows naturally, and the spiritual current between you is mutual, steady, real. No pretense. No performing. Just partnership rooted in purpose. There's no need to shrink so they can shine. And no pressure to carry the weight of both paths alone. You rise together. What forms here doesn't compete with your healing. It protects it. This is not a tug-of-war between your peace and your passion. It honors both. And even if this new bond requires shedding the familiar or walking roads you've never imagined, it still feels like belonging. Because the core of home isn't found in places, but in alignment. There's no need to grasp what was never yours. No need to plead for what's meant to pursue you. Love written in divine language doesn't rely on force to flourish. It arrives with assurance, not apology. So hold the line. Let your heart rest in the truth that what is meant will meet you with grace, with presence, with confirmation, never chaos. What's ahead isn't late. It's in preparation. And when it shows up, it won't ask you to question if it's real. You'll feel it in your bones. Some carry brilliance that was never meant to be placed in shallow hands. There were chapters where your presence was enjoyed, yet your depth went unnoticed, where what you offered was consumed, but rarely cherished. The glow you carried was admired until it asked for protection, and your quiet endurance was mistaken for endless capacity. It wasn't your worth in question. It was the lens through which others viewed it. You weren't overlooked because you lacked value. You were surrounded by those unprepared to hold it. You were never too complex, only planted in places too temporary to sustain the kind of soul you carry. What was mishandled became revelation. You didn't shrink. You awakened. What once felt like rejection was, in truth, redirection. That misalignment became the very thing that taught you to discern who is able to see beyond your surface, into the sacred force moving through your being. Now the tides are shifting. What's approaching isn't seeking your light to warm their ego. It arrives with reverence, already aware of its origin. They won't just notice what you do. They'll cherish why you do it. They won't just acknowledge your presence. They'll witness your essence. This isn't about flattery. It's about recognition. They see the choices behind your silence, the weight behind your words, the wisdom beneath your calm. They arrive not to take, but to offer. Not to be impressed, but to invest. The power in your presence doesn't intimidate. It invites partnership. They are drawn not just to your strength, but to the story that built it. They speak to your core, not from obligation, but from a place of deep resonance. And this time, your capacity is not drained, it is doubled. Your energy is not depleted, it is replenished. No longer are you required to explain your intuition or justify your softness. No longer do you have to shrink to be held, or dim to be accepted. What you carry is finally treated as sacred, because now it's seen by someone who understands the weight and wonder of what you bring. Their love doesn't feel like performance. It feels like presence. Steady, clear, and safe. This new season is not performance-based. It's rooted in mutual reverence. You're not celebrated for what you produce, but for who you are when nothing is being asked of you. There's no pressure to mask your growth or adjust your pace. This time, your fullness is not too much. It is met, matched, and honored. And in their eyes, your radiance is not a spotlight. It's a signal that home has finally arrived. There were seasons when you released your hopes into the silence, not knowing if they landed anywhere but your own heart. In those quiet hours, you weren't asking for fantasy. You were asking for something rooted. You longed not for perfection, but for resonance, a space to be fully known, a bond that felt like alignment, not performance.